Welcome back to the channel Shadows in the Night. Tonight, we continue with 5 Urban Legends, Part 2. Before we begin, a quick reminder. All stories featured here are fictional urban legends, created from rumors and word-of-mouth tales. They are not intended to attack, reference, or offend any individual, organization, or business. If you enjoyed chilling creepypasta-style stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to Shadows in the Night so you won't miss upcoming episodes. Now, let's begin with story number 3. Apartment 404, South Korea. I moved to Seoul in the winter. The city felt colder at night than I had expected. Not just the kind of cold that seeps through your coat, but a different kind of cold. The kind that makes you feel like you're standing somewhere you don't belong. The apartment I rented was in an older district, near a residential building that had clearly been standing for decades. 12 stories tall, gray paint peeling, narrow hallways, dim yellow lights. The air always carried a mix of mildew and cheap cleaning solution. When I signed the lease, the price struck me as strange. Too cheap. Far too cheap for Seoul. Why is this unit so inexpensive? I asked, unable to hide my suspicion. The previous tenant moved out suddenly. The agent replied flatly, "There's nothing wrong with it." I believed him. Because I needed a place to stay. And because I didn't know, the unit I rented was 403. But in this building, there was no such thing as 404. I realized that on the third night. I came home late, almost 1 a.m. The old elevator rattled as it climbed. The lights flickered faintly. The floor display lit up clearly. 1, 2, 3, 4. But when the doors opened, it wasn't the 4th floor hallway. In front of me stretched a corridor longer than it should have been. The lights weren't yellow, they were a cold, sterile white. No windows, no draft of air, no sound except the elevator doors sliding shut behind me. On the wall, a metal plaque read, 404. I stood frozen for several seconds. Did I press the wrong floor? I whispered to myself. I hit the button inside the elevator again. The doors opened. The same hallway. My heart began to race. I clearly remembered when signing the lease, the building only went up to 403. Even the directory board in the lobby showed number 404. I stepped out. The hallway stretched far longer than the 3rd floor ever did. The smell here wasn't mildew. It was metallic, damp, like wet iron. The white lights reflected off the floor, casting my shadow long and distorted. "I'm just exhausted," I muttered, though my pulse was pounding in my ears. I turned back to the elevator. The doors were closed. I pressed the call button. No response. The elevator display, completely dark. That's when I felt the cold again. Not weather cold. Bone-deep cold. "Hello?" My voice echoed down the empty corridor. No answer. But then I heard it. Footsteps. Soft. From the far end of the hallway. I turned around. At the end of the row of white lights, there was a figure standing there. Far away, I couldn't see its face clearly. Just a thin silhouette, slightly tilted, head lowered. "Excuse me," my voice trembled. "Is this the 4th floor?" The figure didn't respond. But it began walking toward me. Very slowly. Each step made a soft clop, clop, asterisk sound. Like wet shoes striking tile. I'm just asking for directions," I stammered, my heart pounding. The distance between us shrank. The light revealed more. Its clothes were soaked, clinging heavily to its body. Long hair hung forward, covering most of its face. Water dripped steadily onto the floor, leaving dark, spreading stains behind. "Which room are you looking for?" it asked. The voice was quiet, too quiet, and not quite human. A chill ran through me. I'm in 403, I replied, my throat dry. I must have gotten off on the wrong floor. It stopped about 10 feet away. Its head slowly lifted. That's when I saw its face. Skin pale as paper, eyes wide open, no pupils, no color, just a cloudy white, like the eyes of a dead fish. 403, it whispered. Its back twitching slightly. You shouldn't stay there. My chest tightened. Why not? I managed to ask. Because. Its voice dropped lower, suddenly sounding as if it were whispering directly beside my ear, even though it hadn't moved. 403 is directly beneath 404. The air around me grew heavy. And 404, it continued, its tone freezing cold, is the floor for those who never made it back. The hallway lights began flickering violently. The figure in front of me started to blur, as if dissolving in water. You've already come up here, its voice echoed faintly. So sooner or later, you'll get used to it. At that exact moment, a asterisk ding sounded behind me. The elevator doors slid open. The display read, "Free." I spun around. The 404 hallway was gone. Only the familiar third-floor corridor remained, dim yellow lights, stale mildew in the air. As if 404 had never existed at all. I rushed into the elevator, repeatedly jabbing the close button. My heart pounded wildly, cold sweat soaking through my shirt. That night, I couldn't sleep. I searched the building layout. Number 404. I asked the security guard. There's never been a 404 here, he said firmly. It's an old building, they skipped that number from the start. But when I returned to my unit, on the tile floor in front of my door, room 403, there was a long trail of water, stretching from the stairwell, all the way to my door. The trail of water in front of room 403 was not small. It stretched from the stairwell all the way to my door, smeared across the gray tiles as if someone had dragged something heavy, something very wet, through the hallway. I stood frozen for several seconds. My heart pounded so hard my ears rang. That's impossible, I whispered, my throat dry. I just got back. I crouched down and lightly touched the water with my fingers. Cold. Not the kind of chill from rainwater, this was freezing. Like water taken straight out of a freezer. A faint smell clung to my fingertips. Not exactly blood, more like old metal mixed with damp decay. Did someone go into my apartment? My voice trembled. I looked down the hallway. No one. The yellow lights flickered weakly. Every other unit was sealed shut. It was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. I unlocked the door to 403. Inside was pitch dark. But I heard water dripping. Drip, drip? Steady. Close. It's probably a leak, I muttered, trying to calm myself, though fear bled through my voice. I flipped on the light. The room lit up in a dull yellow glow. Everything looked untouched. The bed, the desk, the closet, my laptop, no sign of intrusion. But the dripping didn't stop. Drip, drip? I followed the sound. It was coming from the bathroom. The bathroom door was slightly open. I swallowed and stepped closer. In the bathroom mirror, I caught my reflection, pale skin, dark circles under my eyes, as if I hadn't slept in days. I looked down at the floor. Dry. Yet the dripping continued. Drip, drip? I slowly lifted my gaze toward the ceiling. Right beneath the light fixture, a single droplet of water hung suspended. It trembled, then fell. Drip. One drop. Then another. But the ceiling was completely dry. No pipes above, no visible cracks. What the hell? I breathed, a cold sweat spreading down my back. I grabbed a towel and wiped the spot. The next drop fell in the exact same place. Unstoppable. Unchanging. That's when I remembered the figure on 404. Soaked clothes. Water dripping from its hair onto the floor. No, I whispered, my pulse racing. Suddenly, the bathroom light flickered. The mirror fogged over slightly. For the briefest second, in the reflection, I wasn't alone. There was a shadow standing directly behind me. Very close. Head lowered. Long hair covering its face. I spun around. No one was there. But the metallic smell in the room grew stronger. I'm hallucinating, I muttered, my hands shaking uncontrollably. It's just lack of sleep. I stepped away from the bathroom. The moment I shut the door, I heard a faint voice from inside. You heard it too, didn't you? I froze. Who's there? My voice caught in my throat. No answer. Only the dripping. Drip, drip? I took a step back until my spine hit the wall. If someone's in there, I stammered. Please, don't do this. The bathroom doorknob slowly turned. Very slow. Almost silent. The door creaked open just a few inches. Inside, it was darker than before. The light seemed dimmed, as if veiled behind a thin layer of fog. Then I saw it. A hand resting on the edge of the door. Pale. Soaking wet. Water dripped from its fingertips onto the floor. Drip, drip? You shouldn't look, the voice whispered, very soft, very close. I couldn't breathe. You've already been to 404. It continued, its back twitching faintly. So sooner or later, you'll see us. The bathroom door swung fully open. It stood inside. The same figure. Clothes drenched, skin deathly pale, eyes wide open, no pupils, no color, just a cloudy white stare. But this time, its face was much closer. Why, me? I croaked, my heart pounding so violently it hurt. Because you live directly beneath us. It replied in a low, steady tone. 403 is the closest floor. Closest, to what? I whispered. To the place where no one returns. Its voice was ice cold. It extended its hand toward me. Water streamed from its fingers, spreading across the floor, inching toward my feet. Every night, it murmured, its voice warping strangely. Someone new will hear it. Hear what? I trembled. The water, it whispered. The sound of those who never made it back. My feet suddenly felt freezing cold, as if I were standing in a shallow pool. But when I looked down, the floor was dry. Do you hear it? It asked, inches from my face. That's when I realized, inside my ears, beyond the pounding of my heart, there was another sound. Water. Not from the ceiling, not from the bathroom, but from somewhere deep inside my chest. The sound of water inside my chest didn't fade. It wasn't distant anymore. It was clear, steady, like someone tapping from within. Drop by drop, mercilessly rhythmic. I staggered backward until my back pressed flat against the wall. My breathing grew heavy and uneven. Every inhale dragged a freezing sensation along my ribs. No, that's impossible, my voice cracked. This isn't real, I'm imagining it. The figure in front of me didn't move closer. It simply stood there beneath the blurred light, water dripping from its hair to the floor, forming dark circles that slowly spread, then vanished as if they had never existed. You all say that, it replied in a hollow tone. Everyone who goes to 404 says the same thing. I squeezed my eyes shut for a few seconds, then snapped them open. It was still there, unmoving. Unblinking. I'll move out. I stammered, gripping my apartment door handle tightly. I'll leave tomorrow. A faint laugh escaped it. Not loud, not mocking, just a cold breath slipping through the air. It's too late, it whispered, tilting its cloudy white gaze. You've already heard it. So what if I heard it? I shot back, forcing steadiness into my voice. What's wrong with hearing something? It tilted its head. Water streamed faster from its hair. Hearing means you opened the door, it said quietly. And doors don't close on their own. The lights flickered wildly. Its outline blurred, then doubled in my vision. As if more than one figure stood inside that narrow bathroom. The air thickened with mildew and metallic rot, making me nauseous. "Please," I whispered weakly. "I didn't do anything. I just rented the apartment. We only stayed here too." The voice echoed, no longer just one voice, but layered, overlapping. "We stayed because no one else would." The bathroom door creaked wider. Behind the first figure, there were others. Faint silhouettes stacked over one another. Different lengths of hair, crooked postures, but all of them soaked. All of them dripping. Drip, drip, drip. The sound hammered inside my skull. "Stop," I screamed, my voice breaking. "Please, just stop." Suddenly, silence. The lights steadied. The dripping ceased. The room fell into a suffocating stillness. I stood there, gasping, cold sweat sliding down my spine. The bathroom was empty. No figure. No water. No metallic smell. Just me, alone in apartment 403. What the hell just happened? I rasped, my legs trembling. I collapsed onto the bed, my thoughts spinning. Maybe it was all a hallucination. Maybe exhaustion and the rumors about 404 had twisted my mind. I grabbed my phone and called the landlord. The line rang for a long time before someone answered. "I'm sorry for calling so late," I said, trying to sound calm. "I'm in 403. I need to ask about 404. There was silence on the other end for several seconds. 404, the landlord repeated slowly. Hesitantly. "You went up there?" I swallowed. I only stood outside. A heavy sigh came through the line. "Did you hear anything?" The voice lowered, almost whispering. I tightened my grip on the phone. "I heard water," I admitted quietly. The silence that followed felt endless. Then, the landlord's voice trembled slightly. "You need to leave as soon as possible." But, my mouth went dry. What if I can't leave in time? Another pause. Then, the voice on the other end faltered. "You'll become part of that floor." The call ended. My phone screen went black. The lights in the apartment shut off instantly. Darkness swallowed me whole. And then, drip. A single drop of water landed on the back of my hand. Slowly, I lifted my head. The ceiling of apartment 403 was beginning to soak through. And from the direction of the stairwell, I heard slow footsteps, descending from floor 404. The story of apartment 404 ends here. Now, we move to story number 4, set in the United States. The night bus with no passengers. I started my night shift like any other. 2:13 a.m., the bus terminal was nearly empty. December in the Chicago suburbs was cold enough that my breath fogged in front of me. The scent of rusted metal railings mixed with gasoline hung in the air, drying out my throat. The final route of my shift was labeled B17. A short line that ran through an old suburban district where most of the houses had been abandoned for over a decade. Hardly anyone rode that route at night. But rules were rules, the bus ran on schedule. Even with no passengers. I climbed into the driver's seat and started the engine. The familiar rumble filled the cabin, steady, mechanical, like the heartbeat of an aging beast. "Another long night," I muttered, zipping my jacket higher. I glanced into the rearview mirror. No one. The entire cabin was empty. Gray vinyl seats, cold and stiff. Fluorescent ceiling lights cast a pale glow over everything, making it feel like an abandoned hospital ward. The bus rolled forward. The station disappeared behind me, replaced by a long, empty road. Bare trees lined both sides, their branches scraping together in the freezing wind. It was so quiet I could hear the tires hissing against the damp pavement. I was used to the loneliness of night shifts. But that night felt different. Not fear exactly, more like the sensation of being watched. I checked the mirror again. Still empty. Just tired, I whispered to myself. The first stop came into view. A small shelter, peeling metal sign, a flickering streetlight above it casting weak yellow light over cracked concrete. Out of habit, I pressed the brake. The doors opened with a soft hiss. No one stood there. Cold wind rushed into the cabin, carrying the scent of wet leaves and decay. I waited a few seconds, then closed the doors. The bus moved on. Second stop. Third. Fourth. Each one the same, empty. Silent, no sign of life. By the fifth stop, unease crept under my skin. Not because there were no passengers, but because each time I stopped, I felt like someone had been standing just inches from the door, only to vanish before I could focus. Just your imagination, I muttered, tightening my grip on the steering wheel. The road grew darker. Fewer streetlights. On either side stood abandoned houses. Shattered windows. Curtains swaying like suspended figures in the night. The air inside the bus felt colder. Even with the heater running, the chill seeped through my uniform and into my bones. I checked the clock. 2:47 a.m. 2 stops left. And then, I heard something behind me. Not footsteps. The sound of a seat compressing. As if someone had just sat down. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't turn around immediately. I looked into the rearview mirror. In the mirror, there was a figure sitting in the last row. I was certain. Just moments ago, the bus had been completely empty. My throat tightened, my breathing slowed. The figure sat perfectly upright. Head lowered. Not moving. The overhead lights cast a pale glow. But I couldn't make out a face, only a vague silhouette. As if wrapped in a thin layer of mist. "When did you get on?" I whispered, my heart pounding. I quickly glanced at the rear door. Still closed. We hadn't stopped at a station. There had been no hiss of the doors opening. No reason for anyone to be there. I swallowed hard. "Excuse me," my voice trembled despite my effort to stay calm. "Sir, or ma'am, which stop did you board at?" No answer. The figure didn't move. Didn't turn its head. Didn't make a sound. But one thing became painfully clear. The temperature inside the bus was dropping fast. My breath began to fog in front of me. The windows frosted over with a thin layer of ice. "Hey," I tried again. More urgently, my back stiff. "If you're on the bus, at least say something." The figure shifted. Barely. Just a slight tilt of the head. And then a voice came from the back row. Low. Soft. "This bus doesn't carry the living anymore." My stomach dropped. I stared at the mirror. The figure slowly lifted its head. And in that instant, I realized there wasn't just one person back there. There were many. Dozens of faint silhouettes filling every seat in the cabin. All with their heads lowered. All silent. And none of them reflected clearly in the mirror. The cabin felt compressed, as if the air itself had thickened. The cold was so intense my lungs ached with every breath. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, illuminating row after row of shadowy forms sitting motionless like wax statues. No breathing. No shifting. Only the steady rumble of the engine. Like the failing heartbeat of something ancient and dying. "What kind of sick joke is this?" I rasped, my hands shaking violently on the steering wheel. "Everyone, please get off the bus." No one responded. Their heads remained bowed, hair hanging forward and hiding their faces. Their clothes looked old, faded, washed out, like photographs left too long in water. I stared into the rearview mirror. That's when I noticed something even worse. It wasn't that they didn't reflect clearly in the mirror. It was that I didn't either. The driver's seat in the mirror was empty. The steering wheel was turning slightly on its own. "No," I whispered, my heartbeat spiraling out of control. "That's not possible." I lifted a hand and touched my face. Solid, warm. I could feel my pulse beneath my skin. But in the mirror, I didn't exist. "You've already crossed the line," the voice from the back row said, "Closer now." I turned around. The original figure had stood up. It was now in the aisle. Taller than I remembered, its neck bent at an unnatural angle, as if its spine had shifted out of place. "Crossed what line?" My voice cracked. "This is just a normal route." A quiet laugh rippled through the cabin. Not from one person. From all of them. "Normal," the overlapping voices echoed. "Distorted. For the living." "And we," another voice added, "cold as ice. Have been riding this route for a very long time." I looked around. Faces began to reveal themselves beneath damp strands of hair. Gray skin, sunken eyes. Some had half their faces crushed inward. Others had necks twisted at impossible angles. A thick metallic stench filled the bus. Not fresh blood, but something long decayed. "This is," my voice trembled. "Are you dead?" "Accidents," the one nearest to me whispered. "Bus fires. Rollovers. Vehicles into rivers. Disappearances in the night. All of us," another voice said slowly. "Once sat exactly where you are." My head spun. "I'm not dead," I nearly sobbed. "I'm alive. I'm breathing." "Yes," the figure replied in a low tone. "But you heard us." "So what if I heard you?" I shouted. I see fear crawling up my spine. "What's wrong with hearing something?" The figure stepped closer. Less than 3 feet separated us now. I could see its face clearly. No eyes. Just 2 deep, hollow sockets, shimmering faintly, as if filled with dark water. "When you hear us," it said slowly, "you open the door for this bus to stop. And once it stops," another voice cut in, "there's always room for one more." "Room?" I whispered, my chest tightening. "For who?" All of them turned their heads in unison. Toward the driver's seat. Toward me. "For you." The bus began to tremble. The engine roared and accelerated on its own. The speedometer climbed, 50, 60, 75 miles per hour. The road ahead was pitch black. No street lights. No houses. Just an endless stretch of darkness. As if I were driving straight into a bottomless tunnel. "Stop," I screamed, my voice breaking apart. "Stop the bus." The brakes didn't respond. The pedal was stiff as stone. The steering wheel no longer obeyed my hands. "We've reached the final stop," a voice said, icy and calm. "There, you won't have to drive anymore." "The final stop, where is that?" My throat tightened. The figure tilted its head. "A place with no return." Suddenly, all the bus doors flew open at once. Freezing wind blasted into the cabin. The vehicle shook violently. One by one, the shadowy passengers stood, silently. They began walking toward the doors, like a line of commuters disembarking at their stop. "You don't need to be afraid," someone whispered directly behind me. "This route never runs out of drivers." I turned. Another figure was now seated behind the wheel, overlapping my position. Its face was identical to mine. Every feature. Every detail. Except the skin was pale. The lips were bluish. "It's my turn," it murmured, eyes hollow. "And yours is to get off." I felt my body grow weightless. As if something pulled me from the seat. The cabin drifted farther away. The lights dimmed. The shadowed passengers sat back down, one by one, heads lowered in silence. I fell. There was no pain. Only darkness. And the last sound I heard was the bus doors closing. Hiss. Since that night, Route B17 has continued to run. People say that sometimes, if you stand at the old stop around 2 a.m., you'll see a bus pull up. The doors will open. There will be no passengers. But if you look carefully into the rearview mirror, you'll see a driver sitting there. And his face will look very much like yours. And that concludes story number 4 of tonight's urban legends. Shadows in the Night would like to remind you that all content presented here is purely fictional urban legend material and is not intended to target or reference any individual or organization. If you enjoyed chilling stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to continue your journey with Shadows in the Night in the episodes to come.